Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hope you guys had a nice summer, and welcome to episode 29 of the FilmBrony Podcast. I am, of course, the guy in charge of this, Nick Canino, as usual. But as always, I'm not here alone. I got a couple friends with me who are with me, including one of them who started the whole FilmBrony Podcast. So, would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
I am Christian Frades. I'm an aspiring voice actor and writer and YouTuber.
David Zaslav, it's one thing to cancel Batgirl right at the brink of completion, but to go as far as to removing shows like Uncle Grandpa and OKKO from HBO Max.
As for CW's Powerpuff, I hope he cancels that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Anyway, why don't we get started with our usual thing? Starting with the Blu-rays.
All right. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Nice.
An influence of Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
Yeah, I bet since it's
Hello,
Disney.
Eddie. Welcome to the
Hey.
welcome to the stream.
Next, I have The Accused, Jodie Foster's first Oscar.
That's a great film.
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Nice.
It'll be interesting to see the remake from Netflix. Cake.
Nice.
Cats and Dogs 1 and 2, two of the most underrated family comedies. Coming to America, just the original. Cyrus. Enemy of the State.
Nice.
Fearless.
Fearless. That's a great movie.
Force Majeure.
Yeah, I still got to see the original because the remake I saw was just garbage.
Yeah, so I've heard. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Nice.
Holes. Just Mercy.
That's a very good film.
The Kids Are Alright.
That's a great movie too.
Midnight Special.
Nice.
Mona Lisa.
Nice. That's a great film.
All the Mummy movies, the Mummy trilogy.
Sweet.
Mutiny on the Bounty.
That's a classic.
Darren Aronofsky's Noah.
A great film.
Old Boy, the original. Piglet's Big Movie.
Nice.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Hey, Doug Walker, I hope you're listening. Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah, really. Don't even get me started on that.
Richard Jewell.
Richard Jewell was a great movie.
Next is the Citizen Kane of bad movies itself, The Room.
Zorak and Moltar were quoting it in a Space Ghost Coast to Coast episode.
Oh my god.
Salt. Saving Mr. Banks.
That's a great film.
That was good.
It was
Shoot
great.
'em Up.
Nice.
The Simpsons movie.
I love that movie.
Some people say that's where The Simpsons should have ended, and I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Me too.
A Single Man.
Nice.
Single White Female.
Very good thriller.
Spy Chronicles.
I
Nice.
loved that.
I love that too.
Strictly Ballroom.
Baz Luhrmann's best movie in my opinion.
The Terminal. They Live.
Nice.
And last but not least, What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
That's a classic. And
Yeah.
hello, Anna. Welcome to the stream.
I do not just have Blu-rays to showcase, but since I'm a comic book geek, I show comic books. The first of my DVDs is the Danny Phantom Complete series.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's
really
just
great.
agree that Butch Hartman is an artist to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Steve Marmol, he wrote a lot of great stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and the original Ninja Turtles collection,
Cowabunga.
and
Cowabunga,
stocking.
dudes.
And for my comic books, I have a My Life as a Teenage Robot art book.
Wow.
Samurai Jack Lost Worlds.
I still need to
Interesting
see that
comic
show.
book. Yeah, and this
Great
is
one.
a global collection.
Nice.
Yeah.
I myself don't have any Blu-rays for this show for this episode because I've been on a tight budget as of recently. So sorry, no Blu-rays this episode.
Well, in that case, let's get to some reviews. First up is The Unforgiven. I was interested to see this since it was directed by Michael McDonough, the brother of legendary filmmaker Martin McDonough. But, however, it's safe to say that John is no Martin. It's well acted with good performances for Ralph Fiennes and Jessica Chastain. It's beautifully shot, and it's got a fair share of effective scenes. But in spite of those positives, this movie doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a thriller about this accidental couple after they accidentally ran out with somebody? Does it want to be a commentary satire on American tourist behavior in Morocco? Does it want to be about Chastain cheating on her husband? This movie doesn't know, and thus the tone is kind of all over the place, and as a result, it's incredibly boring and uneventful. So while this isn't bad per se, I can't really recommend this movie, even if you're a fan of the director's brother. I'll have to get this a seal of mediocrity.
I saw the film as myself, and I really don't have that much to say about this film except it was pretty mediocre. I did like the director's previous movie, which was of Calvary, which Brendan Gleeson delivers one of his best performances in that film. But I cannot say the same for the Forgiven. While the film is well acted and it has some intriguing moments here and there, the movie overall was just a dull mess from start to finish. And I agree with Soren. The story clearly had no idea what it wanted to be. The script is mediocre. It's very well directed for the most part, and I love the cinematography and the musical score, but otherwise, oh yeah, and it's clumsily edited, clumsily paced, and the ending was really stupid. Like, what was that? Yeah, I really did not like this movie. And it's definitely one of the weaker films of the summer. 4 out of 10 or a C minus. I did not like this movie.
All right, my next movie review is Netflix's The Sea Beast. If you're sick and tired of the schlocky kids movie formula, the director of Big Hero 6 and Moana has got you covered. While it's not without its fair share of cliches and it is a little long, it's nevertheless a thrilling and emotional adventure with stunning visuals, great characters, scenes that actually earned the film's PG rating, and a ton of unforgettable moments. Definitely seek this one out on Netflix as it gets the seal of approval. This next movie, though, Russo Brothers, what are you doing?
Oh my god.
You went from making some of the greatest films of the MCU to making forgettable and boring schlock like Cherry and now The Gray Man. Not only is this yet another cliche spy movie, but for a $200 million movie, it looks super cheap with visual effects that look like they were animated in shorts filmmaker. Then the editing is all over the place, making the action sequences look rapidly rushed and haphazardly going from scene to scene with little to no cohesion. And even the actors looked like they were wandering around, wondering what they are doing here, as well as wondering what the Russo brothers are thinking after becoming kings of the world with Marvel. And could you blame him, seeing how this might be one of the biggest downfalls for once great filmmakers since, I don't know, M. Night Shyamalan or Francis Ford Coppola? So I'm going to give The Gray Man the seal of disapproval.
This is one of the worst action movies this is one of the worst movies I've seen this year, and one of the worst movies I've seen this summer. Anthony and Joe Russo. How could you go from Captain America Civil War, then to Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame, which is my third favorite of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, to this piece of shit action movie like The Gray Man?
I'm surprised they downgraded.
I'm surprised too. I mean, there was no excuse for this film to be this bad. But despite good acting from Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas and Henry Jackman's visual score being good and the cinematography being very good, there was nothing else in the film that I really liked. There was nothing else in the film I really liked. All the other actors feel horribly wasted. Chris Evans, I love Chris Evans. I think he's a great actor, but what was with that? Oh my god. What was with that villain he played in the film? I'm dead serious. His villain was so poorly written that it literally gave me bad flashbacks to Hugh Jackman's villain character from Chappie. That's how bad his villain character was. I just. Oh, and to answer your question, I gotta be honest. I'm really concerned about this one.
I'm not interested either.
I'm really concerned about this one. I mean, I'm still gonna give it a chance because the director of that film is coming back, but I'm still concerned about this one. Anyway, back to what I was saying. The editing is one of the worst of the year. Like when we say the action sequences are just an absolute joke, we really mean it. Like the action sequences, not only is the choreography underwhelming to say the least, but the editing, oh my goodness. It is some of the worst editing I've ever seen in a movie this entire year so far. Like they were like too much on the quick cut edits, like quick cut this, quick cut that, quick cut this, quick cut that, to the point where you can't even tell what the hell is even going on in those sequences. And that really was a huge downfall for the most part. And it didn't help that this movie also gave me a headache after I was done watching it. One of the few times where I actually had a headache watching this movie. It's sluggishly paced. It's filled with cliches that you've seen in other action movies before. The script is also a cliched mess. It's clumsily directed. The ending was just an absolute joke, and all the other actors are just horribly wasted. And when it comes down to it, The Gray Man is one of the worst. It's one of the worst action movies I've ever seen, and this might be up there with Don't Look Up and Hillbilly Elegy as being one of Netflix's very worst movies. 2 out of 10.
Every time I hear that title, I think of the Experiment 621 quote, "Whatever you do, don't look up."
Yeah, 2 out of 10, or D. One of the worst movies I've seen this year.
Thankfully, the next movie is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Yes.
I gotta say, after months upon months of mediocre to crappy kids movies, this was a breath of fresh air. It's based on these popular YouTube videos about this tiny anthropomorphic shell interacting with stuff around a large house, this time becoming kind of an internet celebrity and trying to find her family who disappeared a while ago. Guys, this is hands down the best film of its kind since pretty much Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Dean Fleischer Camp's direction and writing is both simplistic and heartfelt. The Fleischer, thank you. The mockumentary style really draws you in, especially the special effects that really makes you feel Marcel is really there and walking and moving his stuff around. Plus, the cast really makes this movie work, from Jenny Slate as the titular Shell, to the director as the cameraman, to Isabella
Rossellini.
Yeah, and Leslie Stahl. Let me tell you, if your heart doesn't feel anything by the end of this movie, get yourself a pacemaker, because this is hands down the second best film of the year so far, as well as proof that A24 is probably the best film studio working today. And I'm definitely giving this movie the seal of cinema.
This is easily one of the best movies I've seen this year, and this is easily one of the best movies I've seen this year. Not only is Marcel the Shell with shoes on like one of the best family movies I've ever seen in a long time, it's also one of the most heartwarming, charming, uplifting, and moving films I've seen this entire year. This is one of those movies where by the time the film is over, you leave you leave the theater not only feeling good about life, but also feel appreciated and grateful for the family you have and the friends you made, just like I was after seeing it. The way the film combines like stop motion animation with like live action like people was a wonderful was a wonderful mix. Like it really feels like Marcel and the others are really there and interacting with the humans. Not only is the voice acting by Jenny Slate, who voices Marcel, and Isabella Rossellini, who voices Marcel's grandmother Connie, absolutely terrific, but the chemistry between Marcel and Connie are absolutely charming and delightful. On top of that, the rest of the acting is very good too, from Dean Fletcher Camp to Thomas Mann to Rosa Salazar and Leslie Stahl. They are also great in this movie too. The cinematography is beautiful. The soundtrack was excellent. I love the story. I love the way the story was structured. Like the fact that the first act of the film was just getting to know Marcel. Then the second act of the film is Marcel trying to find his family, and then the third act is the journey getting there. That's what I loved about the way the story was structured. And for a 90-minute movie, excuse me, for a 90-minute movie, it's very, very well paced throughout. Yes, the fact that they used like the mockumentary style of the film really worked so well, and that alone was the reason why I found the film's pacing to be terrific. It's slow at times, sure, but it needed to be that way to fit the tone and atmosphere of the film. That's why the pacing worked. And not only did the film deliver some fantastic humor in it, but the ending is absolutely one of the most emotional and moving endings I have seen this entire year so far. Seriously, I cried. I literally cried one time watching this movie, and I almost teared up towards the end of the film too. I this is easily the best movie I've seen this summer. I I can't see any other film topping this. When I saw Top Gun Maverick, it was originally my pick for the best film of the summer. But now that I saw Marcel the Shell with shoes on, I could deeply say this. This is easily one of the best movies I've seen this year. And without a doubt, I'm going to give Marcel the Shell with shoes on a 10 out of 10 or an A plus. Easily one of the year's best movies. Please check this one out as soon as you can. Please give this film love and support.
My favorite A24 film is The Witch.
Mine is still Moonlight.
Mine is you'll just have to see when we get to the end of the podcast.
Right.
Anyways,
regardless, guys, check this one out. It's one of the year's best movies.
Yeah. And speaking of family films, next movie is Paws of Fury: The Legend of Hank.
God.
To me, this movie is both better and worse than I thought it was going to be. On the one hand, it's a watered-down version of Blazing Saddles. I was kind of hoping Rob Minkoff could maybe put a fresh new spin on the story, like how The Lion King was kind of a new spin on the Lion on Hamlet. But it's got some of the worst jokes I've ever heard in an animated film, mostly involving these forcibly anachronistic gags that more distract from the experience and enhance it. Plus, the story is pretty predictable with some plot points that don't make sense. On the other hand, all the actors give it their all, from Michael Cera to Sam Jackson to even Mel Brooks, the original film's director, making a cameo in this. Also, I did find myself chuckling at a few guys and having some fun with the action set pieces, including a kind of kick-ass climax. So, not the worst movie ever, but not really worth checking out either. Even if your kids are interested, you're better off just showing them the original Blazing Saddles instead. I'll give Paws of Fear the seal of mediocrity.
I haven't seen a lot of animated films that out of all the animated films that I've seen this year, this is probably the worst one I've seen. Yes, the animation is solid, and the voice acting is too, and there are a couple of jokes that did get a chuckle out of me. I will admit that. The action sequences are fine to watch, but here's the biggest problem with this movie. It's like the movie is nothing but a but a similar remake to Blazing Saddles. Like what made Blazing Saddles work was that it was original and unique and a great satirical look at like Western movies. This is trying to be the same thing with samurai movies, except it's just like let's repeat the same jokes. Except let's repeat the same thing that Samurai Blazing Saddles did, except with kung fu or samurai movies. And this movie was just really unfunny throughout.
Really makes really goes to show why really goes to show why Blazing Saddles can't be made today, because it would result in this mediocrity.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between being inspired by something and just copying it, and just basically copied some of the jokes with pretty bad results as a result of this. The characters are poorly developed. The writing shit. It's poorly directed. The story has no idea what it wants to be. 95% of the jokes really fell flat throughout the entire film, and also an animated fat cat has an animated dog having be stuck in an animated sumo cat's ass. Need I say more about why this movie is just not good? And on top of that, it's filled with so many cliches that you've seen in other films before. It's lazily edited, lazily paced, and on top of that, it was just all around just a bad recreation of Blazing Saddles. Yeah, this is so far the worst animated film I've seen this year so far. It may not be as bad as some of the other animated films I've seen this decade so far, like Scoop or The Boss Baby Family Business, but make no mistake, it's not a good movie. Don't waste your time with this one. 3 out of 10, or a D plus. Don't waste your time with this one.
Honest movie review is where the Crawdads sing.
Oh my god.
Man, this was such a snooze to sit through.
Oh,
While the acting and direction are decent, this movie is nothing but 2 hours of romance cliches and boring courtroom drama, but also with confused editing and a protagonist that gets shit on every chance she gets. Seriously, Lincoln Loud and No Such Luck got less unnecessary flack than this chick. This is one of the most pretentiously boring movies I've seen this year, and I'm giving it the seal of disapproval.
I don't know where to begin with this. I mean, I agree with Soren that it's very well acted. Especially from Daisy Edgar Jones, who's fantastic in the film, and the cinematography is fantastic too. And it's a very well directed movie. But the problem with this movie is that it is so cliched and dull. Okay. Let me take that back a bit, because honestly, I think the directing was just all over the place. It feels like the director had no idea what she wanted to like take the directing of the story into. The courtroom scenes are just boring to sit through. It's filled with so many cliches that you've seen in other films before, and so is the whole story. The script is terrible. with bad dialogue and bad character development. It's sluggishly paced throughout. And like I said before, it's filled with so many cliches that you've seen in other films before. And not only is Michael Dana's musical score a dull mess, but the ending. What were they thinking? I'm gonna have to spoil this ending. And to answer your question, Anna, I forgot what Nicholas's favorite A24 film is. Honestly, Nicholas Lee, if you're watching this, please type this in the comments on what your favorite A24 film is. But anyway, I'm gonna have to spoil this movie. So if you're curious to watch this one and you don't want to be spoiled, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna have to spoil this. If you don't want to be spoiled, that's your warning. Here we go. So Kaya. So Kaya was being accused of killing Chase, and even though, which was why the town was like ridiculing her all of a sudden in an unnecessary way, which you do end up feel sympathy for Kaya at first, especially when she gets pleaded not guilty towards the end of the film, until they pull that stupid 180 nosedive where because it involves something where she was a firefly. She leaves a message for Tate after her death that heavily implies that she actually did murder Chase. I can't even begin to describe how idiotic and confusing that ending is. I really can't. Like, what were they thinking? Yeah, one of the year's worst movies. It's cliched, it's boring, it's idiotic, and it's just all around just a really, really forgettable movie as well. One of the worst of the summer. 2 out of 10 or D. Fuck this movie. Fuck.
I believe you have a couple solo reviews to go over.
Oh yeah, Mr. Malcolm's List was my first one. Mr. Malcolm's List is basically an all diverse cast in a period drama based on the novel the same name by Suzanne Elaine, who also wrote the script of the film. And while the movie is filled with cliches that you've seen in other films before, and while the film is slow in some parts, I did feel the script could have been a lot could have improved with some of the dialogue. I thought for the most part, I found Mr. Malcolm's List to be an entertaining and all around charming period piece movie filled with a well acted cast, great cinematography, great production values and costume design, and all around just a decent, just a solid period piece movie that I thought was some solid. I like this movie, and I give it a 7 out of 10 or B. And then my next movie is going to surprise a lot of you because I didn't know what to expect going into this next film. All I know was that Leslie Manville was in this, as well as Isabelle Huppert and Jason Isaacs. And my God, this is one of the most delightful and charming movies I have seen this entire year. It's called Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is based on it's basically like it's based on the 1958 novel called Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, and it basically follows and it stars Leslie Manville as Mrs. Harris, basically it's about a widowed cleaning lady in 1950s London who falls madly in love with a contrarier dress and decides that she must have one of her own. I love this movie. I love this movie. I think it's one of the most charming and delightful movies I have seen this entire year. The film's acting was fantastic. The script was great. The script was fantastic. It's very well directed. I love the way the story was structured. The acting was fantastic, especially from Leslie Manville, who is absolutely delightful to watch as Mrs. Harris, Ada Harris, I should say. Isabelle Huppert was great. Jason Isaacs was great. All the performances are absolutely great. I love the musical score. The cinematography was fantastic. It's nicely edited. The pacing's great. It has excellent production values and costume design. I will say though, my only minor thing, my only minor flaw I have with the film is that it does overstay its welcome within like the third act. By the time I did feel the film was a bit too long, and I did wish they could have shaved like 12 minutes of it down. But otherwise, it's a great movie and one of my favorites of the summer and this year so far. I give it a 9.5 out of 10 or an A.
All right, so our next movie review.
Oh boy.
Clever.
So Jordan Peele's Nope isn't your traditional alien encounter movie. He gives us his traditional exploration of relevant themes, this time involving media exploitation and its effects. Besides great performances from Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer, as well as fantastic cinematography and music, this movie also has some of the most tense sequences in any movie this year, horror film or otherwise. Plus, the visual effects better get some awards love. So this is one of the most effectively thrilling and original films of the past few years, which I'm giving the seal of cinema.
Also, before we move on, thank you, Nicholas. Okay, so this is one of the year's best movies. I loved every minute of Jordan Peele's Nope. It's one of the most exhilarating, powerful, and just all around. It's one of the most powerful and exhilarating movies I have seen this year so far. It's one of the most exhilarating movies I have seen this year so far. The acting was absolutely fantastic, from Daniel Kaluuya to Keke Palmer to Stephen Yeun. Everybody in the film gave out such a terrific performance, and I know some people had some issues with the way they presented Stephen Yeun's character in this one subplot, which I'm not going to give away what happens, but I can understand why they would have issues with that, seeing that it was a traumatic experience with Stephen Yeun's character. But to me, I thought that worked because it actually fit to his character and why he was like this, and why he's like this later on in the film. The musical score is fantastic. I love the way the story was structured. Not only did Jordan Peele do a fantastic job with the way he wrote the film, especially since the dialogue was excellent and the characters all feel well developed, but the way he directs the movie is just absolutely brilliant. This is one of the best directed movies I have seen this year so far. The musical score is fantastic. The cinematography is beautiful. One of the best I've seen in the movie this year so far. The editing was fantastic. It's very well paced throughout, and the visual effects. Oh my god! Wow, this is some of the best visual effects I've seen in the movie this year, and I mean that. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And not only does the film deliver some thrills and intrigue, but it also has one of my favorite endings I've seen in the movie this year. Yeah, overall, Yeah, my overall thoughts on Nope. Jordan Peele's Nope. Jordan Peele is now 3 for 3 for me with this one. It's one of the best and most exhilarating movies I've seen this year, and I'm going to give Jordan Peele's Nope. I'm going to give Jordan Peele's Nope a 10 out of 10 or an A+. Well done, Jordan Peele.
I love to Get Out, and I
Me
can't
too.
wait to see Nope and Us on Blu-ray someday.
Me too. I'm planning to get all 3.
Yeah. He's a really good director.
He is. I'm really excited to see what he does next.
Same here.
Yeah.
As for our next movie review,
Bring on your next film, Jordan Peele. Can't wait.
yep. As for our next movie review, though, DC League of Super Pets. Another kids movie that was better than I thought it was going to be, but still wasn't great. It did
I
have
actually liked it because I grew up with Crypto the Super Dog.
It's a fine show.
It did have its fair share of awkward humor throughout, as well as a story that makes little to no sense. But the cast was pretty good. I'd especially want to see Keanu Reeves as Batman again. It did have its humorous moments, mostly involving the DC meta humor. But it's not really enough for me to recommend this movie, as I'd easily prefer the other child-friendly DC movies like Teen Titans Go to the Movies or the Lego Batman movie. I'll give this one the seal of mediocrity.
I'm gonna be real with you, Soren. I think this is a bit better than Teen Titans Go to the Movies. I'm gonna be real with you and honest,
Fair point.
because I did not like Teen Titans Go to the Movies at all. Not because not because I can't stand the Teen Titans Go show, but because like I just didn't like the way that the story of Teen Titans Go to the movies was structured. And above all, it just suffered through a lot of toilet humor, odd shoehorn and toilet humor that really took me out of the film immediately.
Yeah, I didn't think that was great either. I made an entire video on it way back on my channel. But anyways,
And for League of Super Pets, I like the voice acting with Dwayne Johnson as Crypto, and Kevin Hart as Ace the Bat Hound was a little iffy, and I prefer Scott McNeil's voice because he did a great job voicing Ace the Bat Hound in the Crypto the Super Dog cartoon. Who knows? Who knows that for the sequel that Mechanic Hat will be the villain?
Oh yeah. And I'll talk about I'll talk about Scott McNeil in a bit, but first, my overall thoughts on the film. Okay, so yes, I did like that. That was easily the best thing in the whole film.
yeah, it was really interesting to hear him as Superman.
Yes,
If
that
you
was the
were,
best thing in the
guys,
whole film.
in case you don't know the significance, go watch John Schnapp's documentary on Kevin Smith's original Superman Lives.
Yeah, seriously. As for my overall thoughts on DC League of Super Pets, it was all right. The animation is pretty good. Most of the voice acting is solid, especially from Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, John Krasinski, Diego Luna, Vanessa Bayer, Natasha Lyonne, and Thomas Middleditch, and Ben Schwartz, and an incredible performance by Keanu Reeves as Batman. Holy shit, what a performance.
Don't forget Keith David as Crypto's father.
Yes.
I'm gonna need guns. Lots of guns. Oh wait, I don't like guns. Never mind.
What do I think of Josh Trank? I loved Chronicle, but Fan Four Stick, very bad.
I didn't see that Capone movie, even though Soren said it was awful.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I and like I said before, I saw that one clip from Capone, and I'm the scene where he starts to shoot everybody in a diaper.
Like I said, did Mel Brooks direct that movie?
It doesn't fit in a crime movie.
No, it doesn't. Anyway, back to what I was saying. The movie has some really good action sequences. I like the musical score, and and it did um I did laugh at like 45% of the 45% of the jokes throughout the whole film. Wait, 40%. I'm sorry. But I really wasn't a fan of this one. Uh, the story is both the story is basically like the Secret Life of Pets, except with dogs. I'll say this though, it's way better than the Secret Life of Pets. I will say that because I did not like the Secret Life of Pets. This one is like that, but a bit better. A bit better. I will say that. At times the directing can feel a bit clumsy and messy at times. I know some people have been praising the script, and sorry, but I wasn't a fan of the script. My problem wasn't with some of the jokes that did make me laugh. It was the way the dialogue was written, including the one scene where an old like one of the old turtle characters like all of a sudden like swears a lot, which is she only swore like four times throughout the whole film, but it was funny one time, but then they crammed that joke over and over and over again. It was just like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, the turtle's name. Her name is Merton.
Merton, thank you.
Yeah.
Also, I did praise the voice acting in the film. While I did praise most of the voice acting in the film, I did not like Kate McKinnon as the villain. She kind of got on my nerves for a little bit. Now I don't hate Kate McKinnon. She can be funny at times. It's just I just felt she was just miscast as like the villain.
Yeah.
But that's just how I feel. 60% of the jokes didn't land for me. It goes for those cliches that we've seen in other films before, and above all, I just wasn't a fan of the film's message. I just wasn't a fan of the film's message. Yes, it's good. It's a good message to teach the kids, but I didn't think the message was well executed in this one. And above all, the post-credit scene was so weak. Like really, really weak. This is one of the weakest post-credit scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Yeah, overall, I thought DC League of Super Pets was okay. It has some funny moments here and there. It has some funny, entertaining moments here and there. But unfortunately, I just found DC League of Super Pets to be pretty forgettable and a bit underwhelming. 5.5 out of 10 or a C plus. Not a bad movie, but definitely harmless for sure. But not something I'm gonna remember in like a month or so.
Yeah. Next up is Vengeance. BJ Novak's film is an interesting murder mystery with some fine acting and some decent commentary on the state of Texas, social media, and podcast making. Although it does have its slow and aimless moments, I'd say it's worth seeing at least once, and I'll give it the seal of approval.
I like this movie. I really like this one. It's a great commentary. It's a great social commentary on the state of Texas, while also being like at times a really good black comedy thriller. Not only is the acting very good, especially from BJ Novak, and surprisingly Ashton Kutcher, but his directing and writing was very good too. I like the way the story was executed. The cinematography is very good. It's nicely edited throughout. Excuse me. It does deliver some. The intrigue is there. The tension's there. The intrigue is there. It delivers some very good humor in it. My only complaint is that the film does suffer just some pacing issues here and there, and it does go for those typical cliches that we've seen in other films before. And I did think the ending could have been a lot better, but overall, it was a good movie. I give Vengeance an 8 out of 10 or a B plus.
Next is Bullet Train. While this movie did suffer some weird moments in pacing, as well as a story that left much to be desired, it's still a fun one-time watch with solid performances, some good humor, and a lot of fun action sequences. Not the best action film in the world, but a fun time down given the seal of accuracy.
This is another film I actually really liked. Yes, the film is slowly paced. The film does have its share of pacing issues at times, and the story can feel a bit. And the story does go for those cliches that we've seen in other films before, and the ending does stall a bit. I will say, although it did give us a funny cameo, which I will not spoil what happens for those who have seen it. You know what I'm talking about. Um, but for the most part, I thought Bullet Train was a fun ride. If it's familiar, it was still the way was the whole film was executed. Um, the way the whole film was executed, I thought worked for the most part. I like the writing, I like the directing, I like the way it was directed. The acting was great, especially from Brad Pitt, who was fantastic in the film. Joey King was very good. Aaron Taylor Johnson was very good. Michael Shannon was great, and so was Brian Tyree Henry. All the other actors are great in the film too. The action sequences are a lot of fun to watch. The musical score was very good. The cinematography was great. It's nicely edited throughout, and above all, I thought it was a really good action movie. If it's familiar, I thought it was a good, if at times familiar, action movie. Still though, it's a good movie, and I give it an 8 out of 10 B plus.
My next movie review is Luck. This was not a good way for Skydance Animation to start off. It does have its good intentions and a few admittedly heartfelt moments, but the writing's got to be some of the worst for a movie like this recently. Not only is the humor one note and goes on for too long, but the story's surprisingly kind of complicated for any kids to follow. And for a movie that cost 140 million to make, the animation doesn't even look that extraordinary. Allegedly, John Lasseter was burned at the last minute and fucked with the development and production of this movie, and it really shows. Maybe it's about time that he just gives up, as it's clear that his spark of magic is gone. And I wish the best of luck, no pun intended, on the future of this studio, so I'll give luck the seal of mediocrity.
I originally was planning to see that, but then I was like, what's the point?
You're not missing a thing.
I already looked at Razor Blade's review of Luck, and after seeing the review, yeah, good thing I missed out on that.
Yeah. Now, as for Prey, though, this is hands down the second best film of the Predator series behind the first one. While the CG can look a bit fake and there are one or two lines that are just there just to remind you of the first movie, this movie gives us what we all loved about the original and gives us something new. The Comanche saying gives us a ton of uniqueness, and the actress who plays the main character, Amber Midthunder, better get a ton of roles after this. The action is stellar, the action is intense and gory, and it's all around an actual spiritual successor, unlike some of the previous movies that tried and failed to update the franchise. I'd say definitely seek this one out, and I'll give it a seal of approval.
Interesting fact: Amber Midthunder's father played Nightwolf in Mortal Kombat 11, and that game series had the Predator in it.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Next movie. Oh boy, this is gonna be a fun treat. Do you guys miss a comedy where it just tries way too hard to be funny and annoys you to no end? No, you don't miss it at all. Well, too bad, because we got one that decided to come play and ended up being the worst comedy I've seen this year so far. It's called Easter Sunday. I didn't hear much about Easter Sunday until I found out that Joe Coy was in the film. And at first I was kind of interested until I found out that this was directed by the guy that did the first Super Troopers film, which I thought the first Super Troopers film was stupid, but it's one of my biggest guilty pleasures. It's stupid, But at least the first Super Troopers film is well aware that it's stupid. I cannot say the same for the rest of his filmography, including The Dukes of Hazzard, which is one of the worst, which is one of the most embarrassing TV to film adaptations I've ever seen. And Super Troopers 2 was just really was just a bad sequel all around. Just repeating the same jokes as the first film, but with much worse results. This one though, this might be on par with The Dukes of Hazzard. Easter Sunday might be on par with The Dukes of Hazzard as being one of this director's very worst movies. First, let me get the positives out of the way first. Although she's not credited, Tiffany Haddish, along with Lou Diamond Phillips, are easily the best things in the whole film. They not only is their acting solid, but they actually deliver some pretty funny jokes throughout. Thanks for coming on the stream, and Anna. See you later. Anyway, the cinematography is very good, and I did laugh at 10% of the jokes. It was mostly focused on Tiffany Haddish and Lou Diamond Phillips, but that's besides the point. Other than that, though, this is one of the worst comedies I've ever seen in my life. First off, the story. Tell me if you've seen this story many times before. A struggling actor, comedian, and single father attends a gathering of his loud and dysfunctional family on a holiday. Tell me if you've seen that story before. Yeah, really. The writing is absolute shit. Like, I'm not even kidding. This movie has some of the worst jokes, some of the worst dialogue, and some of the worst characters I've ever seen in a movie this entire year so far. You know, I feel so bad for Joe Coy because he can be a talented actor. He can be very talented and very funny, but the script and he did pitch the idea to Amblin Entertainment and DreamWorks and Universal and DreamWorks, but the pitch idea he handed to landed in the wrong writer and filmmaker, especially when you realize that one of the writers of this movie was also one of the writers for one of the worst comedies I saw for the last decade, Sex Tape. Yeah. The co-writer of Sex Tape co-wrote this movie too. What does that tell you? Anyway, back to what I was saying. Joe Coy's for this movie also wasted talent by Joe Coy, Tia Carrere, Eugene Cordero. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name. The rest of the cast in this horrendously unfunny script. Unfunny script. The soundtrack annoyed the shit out of me. The editing was all over the place. It's sluggishly paced throughout. Even for a 90-minute movie, it felt like it was going on. It was going on and on and on for 2 hours. That's how bad the pacing was. And on top of that, we're also going to throw in like a subplot involving a mob trying to get Eugene just because he didn't pay them back their money, and a car chase and a cliche car chase sequence that feels really out of place. Like, what kind of movie am I watching? Yeah. And also, don't forget to mention that 90% of the jokes throughout the whole film is nothing but annoyance and them trying way too hard to be funny, and the jokes feeling juvenile and just idiotic, especially the fucking dabbing joke. this is one of the worst comedies I've seen this year. It's cliched, it's unfunny, it's idiotic, and it was just all around a completely reprehensible experience throughout. I really wanted to give this a 0 out of 10, but because Lou Diamond Phillips and Tiffany Haddish did have a couple jokes that did make me laugh, and because the cinematography is good, I would give Easter Sunday a 1 out of 10 or a D-. Easily one of the worst movies I've seen this year, and one of the very, very worst movies I've seen this summer. Do not waste your time with this one. And I know some people are gonna tell me, like, and also another thing too. This movie's supposed to be like Crazy Rich Asians, where it's trying to represent like people in a different culture, including like people who are like Filipino, but it doesn't work when the movie feels less like a movie and more of a TV sitcom. If you're going to portray people in a different culture, if you're going to represent people in a different culture in a movie, do it in a clever, smart, realistic, relatable, and respectful manner. I know people are going to say, well, you're not Filipino. That means the movie's not made for you. No, that's not true. I don't hate this movie because I'm not Filipino. I may be half Irish, half Italian. I may be half Irish and half Italian, but that's not the reason why I hate this movie. No. I hate this movie because it tries way too hard to be funny. It goes for those cliches that you've seen in other films before, and above all, it is annoying and painful to sit. That's the reason why I hate Easter Sunday. I'm really tired of seeing comedies like this, and I really wish these filmmakers would realize that this type of humor does not work anymore. Yeah, easily one of the worst movies I've seen this year. Easter Sunday once again gets a 1 out of 10 or a D-. Fuck this movie. And I know I have my I know we're going to be talking about 13 lives lastly, but my next review is a documentary film. Give me a second. My next review, though, is a documentary film that you guys probably haven't heard of, but I highly recommend checking this one out because it's a great documentary that it does a great job, like painting a portrait of this one man as well as a tribute to this one man who wrote this one song that would later become one of the greatest and most influential songs of all time. That film I'm talking about is Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, A Song. This documentary is basically describing the story of Leonard Cohen and also focusing on his song Hallelujah, which would later become one of the most, which, as I said before, would later become one of the greatest and most influential songs of all time. Well, I did feel the documentary was a bit too long, and I did wish they could have shaved like 12 minutes of it down. This was a great documentary that does a great job. That does a great job, like painting. That does a great job on visualizing the portrait. That does a great job telling the biopic of story of let me rephrase it. I'm sorry. Well, I did feel that 12 minutes of the film could shaved down a bit. This was a great documentary that does a great job paying a tribute to Leonard Cohen and what made that song so popular in the first place, and beloved as well. If you're a Leonard Cohen fan, or if you love the song Hallelujah, or if you just love music in general, this documentary is right up your alley. I love the interviews. I love the way it was directed. I love the way it was shot, edited, paced, and I love the way the story of the documentary was structured as well. So, yeah, Easily, this is one of my favorite movies that I've seen this year, and easily one of the best movies I've seen this summer. I really
Was introduced to that song thanks to, you've guessed it, Shrek.
Shrek.
One of
Right.
my favorite animated movies.
One of mine too. It's in my top five favorite animated films of all time.
And not just Shrek, but also Watchmen and the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. Overall, I give Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, a Song, a 9.5 out of 10 or an A. It is one of my favorite film. It's not just my favorite documentary film I've seen this year so far, but it's one of the best. It's one of my favorite movies I've seen this year so far. Check it out. It's a great documentary.
Now, as for our final movie, 13 Lives, this is basically a much better version of the 33, depicting this true event about a group of divers getting these boys out of the submerged cave. It's definitely too long, and I definitely cut out like 30 minutes of fat from the project to fix some pacing issues, but it's well acted, especially from the young actors. It's well directed with a ton of tension and drama, making you feel for the characters involved. It's Ron Howard's best film in years, and you should definitely check it out on Amazon Prime. I'll give this a seal of approval.
I agree. I think this is Ron Howard's. This is one of Ron Howard's better films he's made in years. Easily one of Ron Howard's better movies. I did think the film did suffer through some pacing issues here and there, and the film was a bit too long. I did wish they could have shaved like 20 minutes of it down. But I understand why they were there, but some of them did drag out for a bit too long, and I did wish they would have just shaved it down. But otherwise, this is a great survival story the based on the cave rescue that took place in Thailand in 2018. It's very well acted, especially from Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell, Joel Edgerton, Tom Bateman, and the young actors as well. It's very well directed. The script was very good. I love the way the story was structured. The musical score was fantastic. The cinematography is great. The editing was very good. The tensions there, and it all around also delivers one of my favorite endings I've seen this year. Overall, 13 Lives is easily one of the most powerful films I've seen this year so far, and it's easily one of the better movies I've seen this year. 9 out of 10 or an A minus. Well done, Ron Howard.
Mm-hmm. So that's it for all of our movie reviews. And before we go, we have a couple lists. So as you all know, Nick and I have been reviewing and ranking various seasons of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. But now that we've actually completed the show by now, we might as well talk about the best and worst that that show had to offer. Now as for the worst, my dishonorable mentions are Candlelight Rain Part 1, Equestria Girls, Appalosa's Most Wanted, the one with Pinkie Pie Nose, Party Pooped, Dungeons and Discords, On Your Marks, The End and Friend, Mold Down, and Dragon Dropped. My number 25 is Non-Complete Clause. Number 24 is a tie between the Trivial Pursuit and 246 Great. Number 23, She Talks to Angel. Number 22, The Beginning of the End. Number 21, The Ghostbusters. Written by Chris Savino. Need I say more?
Fuck Chris Savino.
Number 20, The Cart Before the Ponies. Number 19, All's Well That Ends Well. Number 18, Number 18, The Cart Before the Ponies. Number 17, The Mean Six. Number 16 is a tie between Party of One and Tanks for the Memories. Number 15, Secrets and Pies. Number 14, Dragon Quest. Number 13, sorry Nick, Flutter Brother. Number 12 is a tie between What About Discord and Make New Friends but Keep Discord. Number 11, Equestria Games. Number 10, Some Pony to Watch Over Me. Number 9, it's actually the first episode I've ever watched, Spike at Your Service. Yeah, that's saying a lot. Number 8, it's a tie between The Mysterious Mare Duel and 28 Pranks Later. Number 7 is One Bad Apple. Number 6, A Bird in the Hoof. Number 5 is Equestria Girls Friendship Games. Number 4, Frenemies. Number 3, what was my least favorite episode for the longest time, Ponyville Confidential. Number 2 is A Matter of Principles, and number 1 is Yakety Sax.
All right. I'm only gonna list off five that really like angered me to no end. I'm only gonna list off five of them. Um, Number 5, Yakety Sax. Number 4, Ponyville Confidential. Number 3, 28 Frames Later. Easily Rainbow Dash's worst episode so far. Number 2, What About Discord? My original least favorite episode. And then number 1, the only -1 out of 10 rating I've ever give to the show like this, A Matter of Principles.
Yeah, they were all awful.
Oh my god, especially A Matter of Principles. Especially this was the reason why I hated Discord for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't blame you. As for the best,
You know what the sad thing is? I love John Delancey. I think he's a very talented actor, and he is enjoyable when he's voicing Discord. I don't hate the actor. He did a great job. I hate how the character was written.
yeah. As for the best My Little Pony episodes, my honorable mentions are A Dog and Pony Show, Swarm at the Century, Read It and Weep, Paws and Hoops Day, The Return of Harmony, Testing 1, 2, 3, Leap of Faith, To Princess's Dream of Magic Sheep, one of the more underrated episodes of the show, I should say. Slice of Life, The Kitty Remark, The Chrysaling, Health of Information, Triple Threat, Forever Philly, Celestial Advice, A Flurry of Emotions. Quick reminder, Flurry Heart is not a Mary Sue.
Seriously.
The Parent Map and the Heart... Yeah, and the Heartwarming Club. Number 25 is a tie between The Times They Are a Changeling and To Change a Changeling. Number 24, Inspiration and Manifestation. Number 23, Fame and Misfortune, another underrated gem.
Yeah, really. Very underrated.
22, Mud Pie. Number 21 is Crusaders of the Lost Mark. Number 20, Brotherhood Social. Number 9, All Bottled Up. Number 8, Magic Duel. Number 17, Honest Apple. 16, Dragon Shy and Hurricane Fluttershy. Number 15, Wonderbolts Academy. Number 14, Innate Easy Beam Breezes. Number 13, Sonic Rainboom. Number 12, A Friend Indeed and Too Many Pinkie Pies. Number 11, Stranger Than Fanfiction. Number 10, Pinkie Pride and The Last Laugh. Number 9, A Cadillac Wedding Part 2. Number 8, A Royal Problem. Number 7, The Cutie Mark Chronicles. Number 6, The Breakup Breakdown and The Big Mac Question. Number 5, Sounds of Silence. Number 4, Twilight's Kingdom. Number 3, Amending Fences. Number 2, The Perfect Pair. And number 1, The Cutie Map.
Oh, wow. I was not expecting that to be number 1. It is a great episode, though. It is a great episode. Not my favorite, though, even though it is a great episode. My top 5 are number 5, Twilight's Kingdom. Number 4, the only season 9 film I gave a 10 out of 10 to, The Big Mac Question. Number 3, Sounds of Silence. Number 2, Amending Fences. And then number 1, I just rewatched this episode a few days ago, and still to this day, this still remains as being not only my favorite of the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic episodes, but one of the best episodes I've seen in one of the best I've seen in anything media related whatsoever. And it's easily the perfect pair.
All right. Now for our final list. Since this is the 10th anniversary of this particular studio, Nick and I thought we'd give our favorite films from A24. My honorable mentions are Enemy, Locke, The Witch, Swiss Army Man, The Lobster, 8th Grade, The Farewell, On the Marks, Minari, Lamb, and Come On, Come On. Number 15, Ladybird. Number 14, Room. Number 13, Moonlight. Number 12, Under the Skin. Number 11, Hereditary. Number 10, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Number 9, The Disaster Artist. Number 8, Good Time. Number 7, First Reformed. Number 6, Ex Machina. Number 5, The Green Knight. Number 4, Marcel the Shell. Number 3, Uncut Gems. Number 2, The Lighthouse. And number 1,
Nice. All right. I don't have any honorable mentions because it would be there's just too many A24 films. Like there's just too many A24 films that I really like to list off some honorable mentions. But I chose the 15 that really stood out to me as being the best of the best that A24 has distributed in their 10 years of running this company. So here's the list. Number 15, my favorite of the A24 horror films so far, Hereditary. Number 14, Good Time. Number 13, Ex Machina. Number 12, Room. Number 11, Come On, Come On. Number 10, The Green Knight. Number 9, Lady Bird. Number 8, The Lighthouse. Number 7, The Disaster Artist. Number 6, 8th Grade. Number 5, Minari. Number 4, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Number 3, Uncut Gems. Number 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And finally, my favorite A24 film, Moonlight.
all right. And that's it for another great episode of the podcast. We do apologize that it's not as long as other episodes, but I guess we didn't have as much to talk about as usual.
Right, exactly. Oh, Christian's back. So that's gonna do it for our podcast for this for this particular afternoon. I want to thank you guys very much for watching this podcast, and I know it's a bit shorter than like the other podcasts, but if we don't have anything else to list off or say, then unfortunately we don't have anything else. But I do have one last thing to say before we go. Coming up on September 19th, one day before my birthday, is the worst and best movies of the summer. We will do our usual podcast as we will do our usual stuff that we have on our list of the podcast as usual, leading up to the event where we talk about our worst and best movies that we see this summer. We're really looking forward to giving you guys that list.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait to give you guys my list of what I feel and what Soren feels are the best and worst films that we both saw this summer. And until we meet, so stay tuned for that. It's coming one day before my birthday, which is on September 19th. Stay tuned for that. And until we meet again on September 19th for the podcast, be sure to subscribe to Soren the FilmBrony and Christian Frey's YouTube channel. Their links are in the description below. Give them the love they absolutely deserve. They are absolutely great YouTubers and great content creators as well as wonderful friends, I should say, to talk to. And until we meet again for episode 30, which will be the worst and best films of the summer podcast. Hope you all have a great rest of the afternoon, and have a great final days of the summer. And
Bye.
And overall, have a great Labor Day weekend. And until then, stay safe, you guys. And we'll see you on September 19th for episode 30. See you then.